morning. Cat Deeley's going to be here. She's on a mission to find Britain's best dancer, can she?
Apparently Cat can't dance herself.
No, but she says she likes dancing, but she doesn't consider herself a dancer.
You and me both, kid. Now you in. Hello, good to see you again. Cat Deeley is here in just a moment. Well, Cat Deeley never knows where she is.
No, she's
really
not sure.
I could be 30,000 feet in the air and I still wouldn't know the difference.
But for the next 5 minutes, she's going to be here. That we do
I promise.
know. We will talk more about that very shortly. But for the final time this week, Kate...
Love Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Love Dolly Parton.
9 to 5.
You see, she's a Kate and you're a Cat.
Yes,
and
it's
it's
true.
like William and Kate. She's a Cat.
She's a Catherine.
She's a Catherine.
Well, I'm Catherine Elizabeth, actually exactly like her. My mum had
Stop
delusions of grandeur, I think.
Stop.
Should be
and
you.
thought I
Yes.
should have been me.
Shush! Hold that thought.
Sorry.
Hold that thought. Here's the competition, then more of that after this. Lovely, that's a good
Cat's
competition.
just catching up with people that
I
she
know,
knows.
it's so nice.
Just do that. Hello. She's bumping into all sorts of people
nice.
that she knows.
She's back in this country to host So You Think You Can Dance.
Yes.
And while she's here, they're making good use of you, so they're making you present the royal wedding
Yes,
for CNN.
For CNN, yeah. I'm hosting with Piers Morgan and Anderson Cooper, so I've got 2 reprobates to keep in order at the same time.
It's just like Ant and Dec days.
I know. I can handle 2
You can do
blokes.
that.
Do you know
but,
what I
then
mean?
but you've got to go back between now and the royal wedding. You're going back to America.
Yeah, so we
aren't you?
do the show live on the BBC, 7:10 tomorrow night, So You Think You Can Dance. We're bringing the top 20 into the studio and nobody's going home this week, so it should be really exciting. It's going to be a big old extravaganza. And then on Sunday, I jump back on the aeroplane, go back to LA, and then Monday I do interviews for Australia, So You Think You Can Dance, and then interviews on the Ellen Show and George Lopez and LA Today, and then I fly back.
So what does all that mean? What does it mean? Are you now American? Are you American, or do you have... I mean, what existence does that give you? How much of your life do you spend here? How much life do you spend
It's
there?
quite a lot in the air, in a sleep suit. That's what's there's quite a lot of. But, I mean, I spend quite a lot of time there, predominantly there at the moment. But I've still got my place here. I mean, here's where I call home. You know, my friends and my family are here. And
Where the money is, that's where home will pay. Now, you were talking... So You Think You Can Dance. Whittle down to the final 20. You say nobody's going home.
And the
Here's how
live
you
shows
got
start
to
tomorrow.
that stage.
Yeah.
Right, here we are.
Yeah. So why do you want to be in the competition? He's so cute, that boy. He's like a Justin Bieber type. He's got little chitchy cheeks that you just want to munch.
You must get your favourites, because you've been... I mean, it's Series 8, I think, in America, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
and
is.
Series 2 here.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's like everyday life, you know, there are certain people that you connect with easier than others, but you'd be a pretty unusual person to not... Because we take ordinary people and we put them in this extraordinary situation. It's like a pressure cooker situation, and it's hard not to connect with them on some level. Do you know what I mean? You'd be a funny person not to, but...
But you become a bit of a confidant to them.
Yeah,
really, don't
I'm
you,
kind
that
of
they can-
cheerleader, big sister, cool aunt, and they in America they all come round to my house on 4th of July, which is... The irony isn't wasted on me. I'm English. I shouldn't even be celebrating the 4th of July. But we have, like, hamburgers and hot dogs and, for those who can, beers, and they kind of chill at my house.
So do the public get to vote? Because I get a bit
Yeah.
confused. Sometimes they vote and sometimes not.
They the judges whittle them down to the least...
Yeah.
Oh, no, the public whittle them down to the least favourite, and then the judges vote.
Now, the judges, who have we got there? I saw Louise Redknapp's
Yes.
in there.
Yeah,
and
Nigel.
then-
Cisco, Arlene and Nigel.
Nasty
Nasty
Nigel.
Nigel. But he's actually not that nasty. I think it's all rubbish. He does do criticism, but it's constructive.
Yeah. Well, he's been there, done it, and of course it's all his format, isn't it?
Yeah,
as well?
absolutely. And American Idol at the same time, which now Simon Cowell's left and they've brought in Jennifer Lopez and Steven Tyler, and it's working like a treat. It's
Well,
going
of course,
really
we
well.
see, you know, unlike a few years ago, we can see all these programmes now on ITV2 and things
Yeah.
like that. When you're doing So You Think You Can Dance, do you think you can dance? do you lose control of
wish
your
you could
limbs?
dance.
Do you?
No, I'm not in control of my limbs at all. If I actually danced on TV, I think people would bleed from their eyes. They'd just be so offended. I mean, I do love a dance. If I'm going out with my girlfriends and we're going to have cocktails or, you know, a good twirl around a dance floor at a wedding is always good too. But no, I mean, as you can see, I'm absolutely awful.
It doesn't stop you getting up?
No, and it shouldn't.
Are you the first up on the dance floor?
I'm normally one of the first. It depends on how many cocktails I've had. If I've had a few cocktails, I'm first up, no problem at all.
So if the knock came with Dancing with the Stars
Yes.
or Strictly, would it be a no?
I'd slam the door in their faces. Absolutely not. No, I wouldn't inflict myself on the nation.
So who actually dances then on So You Think You Can Dance? Are these professional dancers? Have they got a track record, or are they just, pure amateur punters?
Some have been technically trained, and some haven't. So some are more kind of street dancers. That's kind of the beauty of the show, is that once we then throw them in with the choreographers and they have to do new styles, that's what's interesting for the public
to watch. Because you mix them up.
Exactly.
You have a ballet dancer suddenly has to do hip-hop.
Hip-hop
has to do
But also
jazz
I think the success of the show is kind of down to the... Dance is the narrative that runs through it, but actually what people really connect with are the people and their stories and their successes and failures and trials and tribulations.
But don't you have a girl who's deaf?
Yes, and she feels the vibration, so she feels the bass, so that's how she stays in time.
That's amazing.
It's really interesting. Yeah. But, I mean, we're looking for people with that kind of star quality, They've got to make people get off the couch and pick up the phone.
That's why a lot of people like to dance with no shoes on. That's one of the reasons, because they can feel the vibe.
Well, also, if you wear silly shoes, like I'm sure you do.
I can dance in heels. I can do anything in heels. Run, dance, do the housework.
Exactly. Host a live TV show, you've done it done.
Yeah, I love dancing, even in my heels. Does it surprise you how well British presenters are doing in America? Do you not, because you kind of think, well, why would they not have...
Not all of them have succeeded,
No, not all, darling, but never mind. You're not bitter, though, are you? No. You're not bitter.
Don't be. They just couldn't recognise real talent.
But I think I've heard you say before, I can't really believe that this happened.
I can't. I mean, we're on season 8 out there, and, you want it to do well, and you go over and you hope that it will, but never in my wildest dreams did I think we'd be on season 8 out there,
Look, you want to give all that up. You want to give it all up and come back to your roots and do what you do best.
Which is?
You, Ant and Dec. Saturday mornings, that's what we need. You dressing up in all those costumes.
With the teeth and talking all like that.
That's what we need. Can we not do an adult version? Not an adult, I didn't mean that like as I meant a grown-up version of that. Anyway, that may be the idea. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Kat Deeley, thank you very much. With that thought, we will leave you. Thank you. Lovely to see you.
Saturday night, So You Think You Can Dance.
Which Kat
10 past 7, which Kat can't.
That's fine.
BBC One. Don't miss that. Good luck with all your royal wedding coverage. I hope you get a little bit of time off while you're here.
Right. We've got the weekend off. And then we're back next week.
Back on Monday. We've got all the Britain's Got Talent gossip, of course, because that starts this weekend. And Stephen Mulhern's here.
Oh, magic. Excellent stuff. So you have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Magic.